welcome to the podcast Of Course They Make Me Crazy. It's about crazy family stories. We all have one, right? More importantly, it's for those of you living with someone who suffers with a mental illness. You can start to feel lost in their world. Now, I get it. I grew up with a bipolar mom addicted to pain pills. Hoping the stories shared here will help you through difficult days. It's not all serious. We laugh and joke too. If you have little ones around, hop in your headphones. Adults only, please. Hey there! Welcome to the podcast Of Course They Make Me Crazy. I'm April, and I'm being joined by my little sis Amanda. Hey, girlie.
Hey.
Haven't seen her in a while. Okay, so the last couple of months, I was really diving deep into teens and what to say, what not to say, what to do if your teen is experiencing suicidal thoughts. And that is a pretty heavy topic. And so, but you should go back and listen to it if you do have a teen or have kiddos that are about that age. Tons of really valuable information. And God, I hope you don't ever have to deal with something like that, but just good to know, prepare. But okay, so that is why I wanted to lighten it up a little bit, get back to my roots, get back to our crazy family stories. Because if you start listening to Amanda and I when we first started this podcast, you know how we do. We have weird, twisted family stories that make you say, WTF. And we get it, right? So in this episode, I'm going to be reminiscing about when my former bestie and I decided that we were going to go spring breaking at my grandfather's house, who lives in Florida. And the reason that sounds so crazy is because he is a nudist, an alcoholic, and gay. And that's where we were going. And at that time, my boyfriend, Amanda, you remember Dan, right? Came and he was surprised, visited us. Okay. So we thought he was going to Texas when actually he was driving to Florida, showed up. He almost got shot by my old shriveled up, naked as a jaybird grandfather who was 3 sheets to the wind. So, just a point taken. You don't want to show up unannounced at an alcoholic's nudist house who carries. So what are you going to get out of this episode? Okay. What are you going to get out of listening to this craziness? Well, I hope that it's a good time for you to disconnect away from your problems, listen to someone else's. And, if you think your family has problems, well, hell, they probably do. But don't be at the point where you feel like you're alone in that and you feel frustrated. And if there is one little thing, I think, Amanda, that you and I both have learned is that if you could just grab one little tidbit, out of the craziness and find something to laugh about, it probably does a body good, don't you think?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, okay. So in our previous episodes, you heard Amanda and I talk about our grandfather, if you've listened to them. And so we talked about him, being gay. And the reason, back then when he announced this, guys, that was not like the norm. Okay. He was married with 6 kids. And he took the family to a nudist beach. That is where he met Jack, his gay lover, who he was living with when I went to visit. Did you ever get to meet Jack, Amanda?
I did. After Grandpa had passed, we met him for lunch, and I had a great time.
Yeah.
I was young, but I laughed the entire time. He was very flamboyant to me.
Oh, yeah. He talked like a woman. Yes. He was one of those.
Yes. And he had his new boyfriend, but I believe he was already there when Grandpa was crazy, messed up family. Grandpa had a boyfriend before Grandpa passed away, I believe.
Well, I don't, that doesn't surprise me because Grandpa was older than Jack. Yeah. And he probably, as much as he drank and stuff like that, I don't think he had working parts, if you know what I'm saying.
oh, whatever.
Yeah, like, been there, done that with you, Jack. Do what you have to do, to be happy. But so okay, cool. So you got to meet Jack. So you knew, like, when he talked with his hands, and yeah, he was the girl, and Grandpa was definitely the man.
Yep.
So anyways, Grandpa, by the way, his name was Dick.
Yeah, we totally didn't say that in the other episodes.
I don't know. I mean, like, how freaking ironic. And I know that's really immature for me to laugh about that, but it's
kind of funny though. It's like an odd name. Hi, Dick. How are you? Like,
especially because of him.
Yeah.
And especially because he let his hang out all the time,
Oh, yeah, and he just happened. No, yeah.
Okay, so Grandpa, came clean after that family trip about, falling in love with Jack, and that whole family story did not go down very well. Okay, so my mom and her sister stayed in contact with their father, our grandfather, but his sons, they were done. They wanted to kick his ass. They were just done with him. So, but our mom loved his dad, or her dad rather, and she was more forgiving than a lot of people can be in just general, okay? Because he did some pretty screwed up things to her. Like, for one, if you've listened to the other episodes, she found him in bed with one of her classmates, underage boy, right, mans?
Yeah.
In their house, in their family house. And then he asked her not to tell anyone. So there's a lot of things that happened where I was like, why do you even, love him? But she did.
She ran off like the brothers, but she stayed and forgave her father.
Yeah. Move a little closer, Mandy. We're losing you a little bit. Okay. So flash forward 19 years, where I'm like, probably 18 and a half, 19 years old. Mom would always say to me, like, why don't you get to know your grandfather better? And I'm like, well, what the hell for? Like, we lived in Cleveland, Ohio. He lived in Daytona, Florida. And I was like, and Grandma is like my best friend, right? So I felt like I was kind of cheating on Grams. Yeah. But desperate times calls for desperate measures. And what I mean by that is my bestie and I were going to be sitting our cold asses in Cleveland, Ohio for spring break if we did not find a cheap way to get out. So we weren't in college yet. All of our friends were. Tree and I, her name's Teresa, we were rooming. We were paying for our rent, our utilities, our car insurance, because we didn't have anybody paying for that crap for us. So we had to pay for our own college. So we were saving up, and but we weren't even old enough to drink. Right. And so I'm hoping I can still hear you, Mandy. We just wanted some fun, some sun, and some frozen strawberry daiquiris. Damn it. That's all we wanted. So the boys, we didn't get so much because it was biker week that we went down and visited with them. So it was like old men, big bellies, wearing leather, long hair on the beach. Just ain't my jam.
Right.
What about yours, Mandy?
No, no.
I already know that. Okay, so what prompted me to say, screw it, Teresa, let's just go down to Florida, is, and you can attest to this, Mandy, you still live in Cleveland, Ohio. So I wake up like at 7 a.m. in the morning to go to work, get my coffee, get bundled up. You got to put your hat, your coat, your gloves, your everything on. I don't have a garage. I park on the side of the street because we're, in a city. And I go down to get my car and I can't find my freaking car. And I'm like walking up and back and forth and down the street. And I'm like, okay, maybe I parked it. And I thought, I'm forgetful, but I'm not that forgetful. So I'm like, somebody took my car. Somebody stole my car. So I go marching up like the 8th flight of stairs because we didn't have an elevator in that building. I go marching up and I'm like, busting my tree. Somebody stole my car. My freaking car is gone. And so we go back down there. And where's my car? It's there.
Plowed probably by the plows.
Yeah. Yeah, it was underneath all the snow because they plowed the streets and they basically covered my car. So I couldn't believe it. And I couldn't believe that I didn't even notice it before. I was like, oh my God. So that's when you know you've had enough, right? I thought my car was stolen. It was under all the snow because that's all you saw was snow all the time, right? Yeah. So anyways, I said, okay, Ma, call Grandpa and see if he'll let me and Teresa come down to visit. And so he did. And I hadn't seen him, or he said yes, and I hadn't seen him since I was a toddler. So it had been a long, long time. But, you know, not only was he an alcoholic and a nudist, but that did bother me. But at the same time, I was thinking, you know what, though? He lives walking distance from the beach. He has a pool. Yep. And I know that he's got a fully stocked bar.
That's for sure. Yes, Grandpa. Vodka.
What?
Vodka.
Vodka. That was his thing. Vodka orange juice. So so win-win for everybody. Grandpa was happy I was coming to visit him. Mom was happy I was going to see him. Teresa and I were happy we were going to get some fun, some sun, and some alcohol. Right. So anyway, and then plus he also had a full concrete, you guys, a full concrete fence. Huge fence, concrete, around his pool because they were naked all the time.
Nudist.
What's that?
Because they were nudists.
Because they were nudists. Yeah. Thank God. You know, I mean, like, could you imagine living next to the what?
So that's pretty cool though, how he had that big old privacy fence, you know.
Yeah.
So you girls had to get some fun in.
Well, it went in Rome, right?
Right.
Okay, so we were super excited, and I was super excited too to tell Dan, my boyfriend at the time, because he was supposed to be going down to South Padre Island. I was super excited to tell him, like, well, I'm going to Florida, like, because I was going to be stuck in Cleveland, you know, right. Too. But all right. So as the trip got closer, though, I started to get anxious. You know, like I'm going to be meeting and hanging out with like two eccentric, basically strangers. You know, and I had never met Jack before, and I was just nervous because I knew he drank, but I didn't know how he behaved.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. Like
Mom really never talked about him, how he acted when he was drunk. Did she tell you that?
Towards the end, he was mean. I know he got mean with Mom, but that's when he was dying. So I don't know.
He was just probably pissed off at the world.
Yeah.
And himself. Right. He was probably mad at himself.
Yeah.
So, okay. And maybe that's why he drank so much, you know, Amanda, is because he was probably just mad at how everything, you know, you can't help who you are.
Yeah.
You know, so we're not faulting him on that one, but how it all went down was really not good. Not good at all.
Right.
So these feelings, like I'm on the plane, Teresa's passed out, like just sleeping, and I'm like, all these feelings start to flood me, and like these tears just start coming down. I'm like, oh my God, am I cheating on my grandma? And you know, and this is, I shouldn't be doing this. This is wrong. And then I was like, damn it, you know, snap out of it, girl, and enjoy yourself.
Yep.
Right? Yeah, like you got to tell yourself, especially now that I've gotten older, it's like you have to say, are you enjoying this moment? Are you allowing yourself, you know?
Yep.
So okay. What did I okay. Well, I'm like, where am I? I got off track. Okay, so we get off the plane and there he is. We get off the plane, he's waiting for us, and he is exactly how Mom explained him. He is short, he's very skinny, and she said the only thing when he wears clothes he puts on are khaki shorts, a Hawaiian shirt, and flip-flops. And that's what he was wearing. And he had a cane. He was like, like this. Probably going through withdrawals because he couldn't drink.
That's what I was thinking, exactly.
Yeah, because he had to pick us up from the airport, and Jack was working. They owned a printing company down in Florida, so Jack was working all day. So Grandpa probably had to lay off the vodka to come get us, which is really surprising to me because you'd think, maybe he would have called a taxi.
A taxi, yeah. He pulled his shit together and went and picked up his granddaughter, which is awesome.
He pulled his shit together and came and got me. Well, win for him.
There you go, Grandpa.
Yeah, one win. Okay, so, and he's like, hey, girls, happy, welcome to Daytona. And I was like, what the hell do I do? Do I go over and hug him? Do I, and so I did. I gave him like the distant pat, because he's so fragile.
Yeah. So was Grandma.
Yeah.
Very fragile people.
She wasn't, what's that?
They were very fragile people. Well, towards later in life, she was.
Yeah.
Fragile. Yeah.
Just real skinny. And, you just felt like if you blew on them, they were going to, especially him, he was going to fall over.
Yeah.
So. If he got lippy with me, I'd be like, well, you watch it, old man. I can. Boop. I could just, pretend like I'm gonna flick him, and he'd probably like fall right over. So, Teresa was, just real sweet and outgoing. You remember her, Mandy, and she was hugged him. Yeah, it was like, Grandpa, thank you for, letting us come stay with you, and da 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 da. It didn't bother her at all. She thought this was the craziest, funniest stuff going on. So. Yeah.
She was outgoing. She was just like, hey, walked in the house whenever. It was like she owned the place.
Yeah.
I remember her.
Yeah, because she basically lived with us when we were,
Cool.
So we walk into Grandpa's house, and get this, people. I mean, we walk into Grandpa's house. I round the corner, and there was this huge painting. I mean, from the ceiling to the floor, huge painting of a man in buck naked, only wearing a 70s sweatband wrapped around his forehead. He had shoulder length black hair, black, like, that creepy, like that creepy mustache. 70s mustache, and black, bulging pubic hair. I mean, it's just like, it was like a bush around the massive penis that was there. It was like, I walked around the corner and I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. It was like the painting was saying, listen, lady, don't touch. Like, I know what you're looking at. Don't touch. And Teresa was like, oh my God, it was a bush. Teresa's like, look at that bushy, black-haired penis. I was like, how could I not, Teresa? I'm standing in the same place you are.
Right.
And I was mesmerized. I was mortified. So we make our way like back to the room, and it's like his eyes are following you. It's like he's like looking at you. And I swear to God, I felt like I was going to have Tourette's all of a sudden and be like, penis,
penis,
it was just like so weird. I was like anybody else?
There was probably a penis.
What?
I said probably everywhere you turned, there was probably a penis statue or something.
Well, there were a lot of crazy things. The guy's eyes was following. I mean, like literally, I felt like he could have walked out of that painting and been like, "Come on, girls, we're gonna go to the pool." But but as we made our way back, there were some pretty things too. So like he had this beautiful dolphin water fountain rather in the atrium. And if I can remember correctly, it was like the atrium split the house up. So it was kind of like this little section, this beautiful, like peaceful, almost like a meditative section of a water fountain and then the front of the house, and in the back of the house was the guest bedroom with the pool. And so the dolphin and the spring, it was like, you know, water coming out of its mouth, and it just real peaceful. It was beautiful. And the house, totally designed for nudists. Okay. So like they did not have any windows except for the back patio door that walked out to the pool. But then the pool was also surrounded by that concrete fence. So, but they had skylights. So the only way you could really look in the house is if you climbed up on top of the ceiling.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Creepy or cool? I'm not quite sure which one.
But I know mom said that I guess Grandpa had a lot of break-ins too. So maybe that's why he did.
Yeah.
When you tell that part of the story.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. You'll have to embellish me on that one. I don't know about that one, but
yeah.
You'll have to.
She just told me that Grandpa's house got broken into a lot, and he had to get the metal bars on the windows.
Oh yeah, I do remember that. He did have some windows in the very front of the house, which that part of the house, like, you couldn't see in anything though. It was like the entryway, you know. Yeah. So it wasn't like for mine. You walk you in the front of the windows. You could see into like our living space. Yeah. His was different. They did have windows in the front, but there were no. But it wasn't a living space. So, but why did he have break-ins?
I don't know.
Just that area.
Target in that area, I guess. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Maybe two gay guys, maybe.
Exactly. They're being targeted.
Yeah, potentially. Okay, so he walks us back to our guest bedroom, and the pool is beautiful. It's surrounded by sculptures. Our guest bedroom like walked out to the pool, which was really nice. Yeah. So we had our own bathroom, but the pool was had like these beautiful like cherub sculptures. Yeah, it was real peaceful and pretty back there too. So anyways, we walk into the bedroom though. The guest bedroom was not peaceful to me. Hanging above the twin beds were pictures, photos, paintings, I can't remember, showcasing two young men, one man in one photo, one man in another, kneeling on their knees, backsides facing us, so you don't see their faces, and they had handcuffs around their ankles and handcuffs around their hands behind their backs, and their heads were just hanging low.
So our bondage picture, pretty much.
I would think so.
Yeah. Or photo, painting, whatever.
Yeah, I can't remember. I think it was like a painting.
Okay.
But I was like, oh.
In a guest room. That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
I don't get it. At least take them down when your granddaughter's coming or something. Hide some of the statues, throw them in the drawers.
I know, right? You would think, like, even like if Grandpa wasn't in his right mind to do it, like you would think Jack would be like, hey, Dick, you think maybe we should just, you know, maybe drape something over, What's that?
That's what I was thinking. Why didn't they drape anything over the painting, knowing two teenage girls were coming to stay? But they're probably like, we are who we are.
Yeah.
You know? Didn't give a shit.
I mean, come on, people. I mean, it's okay not to give a shit, but sometimes you got to when you have, you know, younger kids coming into the house. So, and you know, maybe he didn't look at us as kids. You know, that's some people.
I'm thinking Grandpa's thinking, oh, they got on a plane by themselves. They're done with high school. She's on her own. He's probably not thinking you're still a teen. He's probably mentally thinking you're in your late 20s. For some reason, just Grandpa's brain never worked correctly, obviously.
No. Yeah, no. Sorry about her audio, people. She's in Ohio, and there's a big storm going on right now.
huge.
So we can hear you, Amanda. It just goes in and out a little bit. So, okay. So Grandpa's like, let's get some drinks. And I'm like, because I think he saw me like, stare. But people that are just listening, like basically my mouth dropped open with my eyes wide open staring at the pictures. And I'm like, oh my God. So he's like, let's get some drinks. And we're like, right on, let's get some drinks. So Teresa and I go help ourselves into the cabinets, and we're going through, like, we're taking inventory of like, we're like, Grandpa, where's your blender? And we start blending up some daiquiris, and he's like, make me a vodka and orange juice. And so we made him a vodka and orange juice, and we come out because you can't see, like there was like a little opening space where you could like poke your head out to talk to people in the dining room, but it really wasn't an open, concept. And so I bring it out, and there's Grandpa, fully naked, sitting at the kitchen table. And I'm like, oh, you got comfortable so soon.
Did you scream? Did you go, oh?
I remember what I was like. I was probably like, oh. Well, and it wasn't that shocking. It was shocking, but it wasn't shocking because he's so tiny. And he was sitting in a chair with his legs crossed, so you couldn't see his little pecker. You know what I mean? Like it was like I
can totally picture him. Like okay.
Yeah. Oh, so Teresa comes around the corner and she's like, "Oh," she's like, "Grandpa, we're going there already." Okay. So,
all right.
I know. She's probably like, okay, yeah, she was. She basically was. So we snap back into it, and we're just doing a little, just getting to know each other kind of thing. And, the conversation didn't flow for sure because I think he was tired, and he could tell that I was probably overwhelmed with everything. So he's like, because he's 90 pounds, so it didn't bother me. But he just started to withdraw himself. So he was like, "Hey girls, I'm gonna go, take a nap." And he had this recliner in the living room, so he went and laid on that. And he waited for us girls, and said, we were like, "Okay, Grandpa, we're gonna go out to the pool and get our sun on, of course, and make some drinks." And so he waited until we got to the pool, and then he got up and walked over to his recliner. So it wasn't like he just popped up in front of us, and he at least had enough audacity, I guess, I don't know the word, to at least wait for that. So I was like, okay. So Teresa and I are, they had a boom box in the back, so we turn it on, the music's going, Grandpa's sleeping, we're, coming in and making margaritas like nothing was going to wake him up, right? I mean, like he was out. And then we're like, oh, well, in Rome. So we, take our bathing suits off, and we're like, boop, and we're, swimming in the pool, and we're like, oh, no tan lines. This is going to be super cool. And we're just having a good time. So we pop back in, Grandpa's awake, and because we took a nap out there. We were out there for probably like 3 hours. And he goes, "Oh, okay, ladies. Well, did you have a good afternoon?" And we're like, "Oh, yeah. I mean, we loved it." So he goes, "Jack's home, and we're going to go to dinner, and we're going to take you to our favorite place." And I was like, "Okay, cool. That's awesome." He goes, "Jack is going to go for a quick swim before we go to dinner." Great. And so Teresa and I are standing there, and Jack comes around the corner. "Hi, girls." Fully naked. Not like Grandpa. He is not 90 pounds.
Give Jack a hug.
Get Jack a hug. And
I'd be like,
no. I mean, he had a chain hanging from his balls to his penis. He had not like a chain. I'm not talking like a heavy, like, chain. He had like a necklace chain, right? Hanging.
Maybe like a belly chain?
Yeah.
Like
But
around his people.
about around somewhere in there, it looked like
He could
it, they,
decorate it.
he decorated it. Yeah. And,
He put
you
something on
know,
special for you girls. That was for you girls.
he got dressed up for us. And then on top of that, he's got these two little wiener dogs who are annoying as shit. And they're like, and they come like fouling out and they hate me instantly. And they're like, and like, honestly, if you guys have wiener dogs, I'm so sorry. But after that encounter, I'm like, oh, that I just can't. I just don't do those dogs anymore. So I think I love every dog. But when I see that, I think it always takes me back to that moment of him, the wiener dogs, the chains. And he's like, okay, well, so nice to see you girls. I'm going to go jump in the pool. And I was like, Teresa and I were both like, oh my God. We go make ourselves another drink and we go sit in the guest bedroom and we have to contemplate what just happened. And I'm like, are you okay with this? I think she's okay with it. I'm like, okay, if we're okay with this, we'll just keep going. Right. So we wait till Jack gets out of the pool and gets dressed, okay? And then we get in the car and it's a great conversation. He's super funny. He's laughing, you know, oh. And he's like, when he came out, he's like, oh, hey, April. Like he wanted me to like kiss his, you know, fingers or whatever, you know, like his, and I just picked his finger up and I was like, so nice to meet you, Jack. Like, what am I doing here? Oh my God. Okay. So we have a really nice dinner. It's fun conversation. He's hysterical. And then we get back and we really didn't see much of Jack after, you know, having dinner because he was working so much, but, thankfully, I mean, but again, I felt like, you know, the Tourette syndrome all over again. I felt like I needed to be like, Pecos, you know, when he walked in, I was like, oh my God. So, I think another day goes by and we didn't hang out at the house. This was a quick trip. We actually went to the beach and we were partying it up with our biker people and they were buying us like pictures of purple Hooters and oysters.
Two young ladies. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. And so we were puking our brains out in the bathroom, you know, like and the biker women are like, these chickies can't handle it. And we couldn't handle it. So we walk back to Grandpa's house and we pass out. Like we are done for the day. We had too much sun, too much alcohol. We're, you know, burned to the crisp. Grandpa's sleeping in his chair. We go into the guest bedroom and we sleep until literally until it was dark outside. And we're woken up by my grandfather screaming on the top of his lungs. And I was like, I woke up, I'm like, oh my God, what is going on? Teresa and I run into the living room and get that my buck naked grandfather is standing there with his cane and a shotgun in his hand because my boyfriend walked in the house without, like, he was knocking, I guess. And right. He said, I kept knocking, April, and I kept calling your phone. This is like, I can't even remember what year this was. It was like, I must have had a cell phone. But, you know, maybe I didn't have it on. I don't know. And he goes, I couldn't get through to anybody. And you know, there's Grandpa going, God damn it, I'm going to shoot you, you son of a bitch, you know? And he's like, and Dad's like, what's going on, April? I'm like, what do you mean what's going on? I'm like, Grandpa would have a little pistol. He held a little pistol in his remote control, his TV remote control holder.
Oh, his recliner.
His recliner. Yeah, remember those TV remote control? You could put your magazines, like your TV Guide and.
Yeah, sometimes they would come built like on the recliner. I think
yeah.
The old red one we had for years and years.
Yeah.
Red recliner. Jesus.
So that was that. And he's like, you know, I think he looked around and I think he might have seen, I can't remember if he saw it, but the picture, you know, the guy, big bushy black haired penis guy, you know, and
from the ceiling to the floor, the painting was.
Yeah.
So it was like a big hello picture.
Yeah. I think Dan was like, where are you? And what is going on? And why is this old man naked? And why is he pointing a gun at me? And what is this? And I think he was just like, and I was like, you've got to get out of here. You have got to get out of here. And so I calmed, Grandpa down. And at that time, Teresa and I ended up going with Dan to a hotel because it was like, I was just kind of over just everything. So Dan was supposed to be driving to Texas, and then he drove to Florida, having me think that he was going to Texas. And I don't know if he was thinking that he was going to, what was the case, if he was going to find me doing something, but I was behaving myself. So, just a jealous boyfriend probably, but I just threw in the towel. I was like, you know what? You shouldn't have come here the way you did, but I'm glad you did. We went back to the hotel with him, and I was just kind of over the penises and the drinking and just the everything, and
atmosphere.
Yeah.
It was just too much, especially at that young of an age, and only knowing him for like a day, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, you really
you think it would have been like kind of woven in there, but it was like, right away.
Yeah.
I got the full lifestyle in a matter of 2 days.
Yeah. That would have been overwhelming for me, honestly. I mean, I probably would have made the same decision. All right, done with the penises and Grandpa drinking, and nice seeing you and spending some time with you, but I'm gonna go home now.
Oh yeah. Oh, so this is so funny too. So he asked me to make him a drink, and I thought I was gonna do a little tricky on him, and it was breakfast time. It was maybe the second day. And Teresa and I were like, oh, we could be down for a vodka and orange juice too. So this is how Grandpa did it, Amanda. You might remember Mom telling you this. He would do beer until noon, and then after noon, it was vodka and orange juice.
Yeah.
So I think we slept in or whatever, 11:30. It was, and he's like, oh, it's close enough. I'll take a vodka and orange juice. And then Teresa and I were like, yeah, we'll be down for that. That's, orange juice, breakfast, whatever. So I make us some, and I didn't put any vodka in Grandpa's orange juice. And I was like, I'm just going to see if he even can tell a difference, He takes a drink of it, and he goes, and he like spits it out at me. He's like, God damn it, April, are you trying to effing kill me? You got to put some vodka in there.
God, I wish I would have saw that.
What's that?
I wish I would have saw that. Him all pissed off wanting his vodka.
Oh my gosh. I was like, okay, sorry. I was just, just testing you, just making sure you're alive. Oh, I don't know. I don't understand why Mom loved him so much, to be honest with you. I thought that I was going to get some kind of understanding when I was there of that. And I think I felt love for him because he seemed so pitiful at that point in his life that I felt this emptiness and sadness for him, just being around him for just a few days. But, also too, at the same time, when I was flying home, I think even at a young age, I tried to think of things in a positive light. And I think, when people are down and out, it's been well on their way, just why not love them? I mean, they can't cause any more harm. The harm's already been done. And holding on to any anger isn't going to help anybody, So it wasn't my jam. Would I have gone to see him again? No, I mean, I didn't when he passed away, and when he wasn't feeling good and Mom was down there, helping him. I didn't have any reason to, and it wasn't that I just didn't like him. I just didn't want to be around it, So
I
And
totally
I think,
understand. And I think he was trying to make things up like when mom was taking care of him down when he was dying. He
yeah,
would send back tons and tons of videos and dolls for me. And mom would say, these are from grandpa. I think that was a way of him not being around. Wow. Just me not ever seeing him. He was
yeah,
all these gifts she would bring home. So, I mean, she brought tons of stuff home when she came home from
yeah,
because I know her and his sister would take turns taking care of him.
yeah. Mom and her sister would go
Yeah.
back and forth.
Mhm.
And you were young, so like you're 10 years younger than me. So when I was 19, you were 9. And
Yeah.
when did he die? He died about
That age. I was around, I want to say 10, 11, I think, because mom kept going back multiple times.
yeah.
I want to say between 9 and 11, he passed away.
When you were like 9 and 11 years old?
Yeah, between 9 and 11, I want to say, because I was still
Yeah.
watching Disney movies. She was bringing me home like the princess movies and stuff like that. So, yeah.
And it wasn't the alcohol, I guess that did him in. It was, well, he smoked. So I thought he had lung cancer, but Mandy, you said mom was thinking maybe he potentially had AIDS or.
Mom told me multiple times he had a lot of issues. He definitely had some type of cancer. She didn't tell me what cancer, and that he had AIDS, and she thinks it was the AIDS that killed him because the way he just shriveled up and died. But he also was drinking liquor to the day he died. He didn't. He literally took it through his feeding tube. So,
Yeah.
Or wherever they put it. I mean.
Yeah, and I don't, that doesn't surprise me. She never mentioned that to me. It doesn't surprise me though, because I think they had like an open relationship, so, and they were having parties and, and I think they really lived a wild lifestyle, that it probably won't be for one that we need to repeat. I think y'all get the gist. So you think your family's crazy? Well, how do you feel now? Oh, good Lord. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining. Those of us living with people suffering from a mental illness have a lot to deal with too. They're not the only ones hurting. We hurt with them. Having a supportive community is so important to your health. Would love to hear your story too. Email, of course they make me crazy, @gmail.com.